Hello, shadow burst Labradoodle puppy families. This is your birth announcement video. These petite Labradoodle puppies are just barely 24 hours old. In fact, they're not all quite 24. Yes, they are. They were all born before this time yesterday. So they're just 24 hours old. And in today's video, we're going to tell you about the whelping experience, how Mama Raven did. We're going to introduce you to each of these little petite Labradoodle puppies, give you a little bit of information about their birth weight, what time they were born, their gender, and their color and pattern. Hi, I'm Claire from Van Isle Labradoodles, and these little petite puppies are from our shadow burst litter with Mama Labradoodle Raven and Papa Bowie. And these puppies are doing really well. We have one very special puppy here, and you can tell he is the one who shows up because he is the bright color. And we're calling him Twinkle because he's just really a twinkle in our eye. He's so much smaller than everyone. And we'll talk a little bit about that when we get to him. So for our whelping experience, Mama Labradoodle Raven was so considerate. She spent the night before. I had told all of you who are on the list for one of these puppies that Raven was in stage 1 labor, and she had a very easy, very quiet stage 1 labor. You could tell that she was a little unsure as to what was going on. And what happens in the early stages of labor is the puppies go from this general area in Mama's body and they make their way down to the exit area. So they sort of line up, if you will. Now, what you might not know is that dogs have 2 uterine horns. So they have their uterus here, and then they have 2 horns, and they come together into the uterus, and then the puppies come out. So the puppies are in each of the uterine horns. Now, nobody knows if all the puppies sometimes can be in 1 uterine horn, or if there's maybe 2 here and 4 over here, given for this litter because we have 6 puppies, or how it exactly works. But we do know that they have 2 uterine horns. That's where the puppies are. And sometimes during a whelping period, Mom will have a bit of a rest or a pause, as we call it as a breeder, when one horn, we think, has emptied and the other one has yet to begin. So it's a really interesting phenomena. And so we have puppies that come out of both sides of Mommy's body. And we can actually see right towards the end of their pregnancy, you'll sometimes see a big bulge out one side, and over on the other side, there'll be maybe it looks like an elbow. It wouldn't be an elbow, it would be the whole puppy, of course, because they're too small with their elbows for us to see if they were poking them out. And so sometimes you get some pretty funny shapes in Mom. And of course, as a Mama Labradoodle, when it's your first time, I'm sure it must be very curious and a little unsettling to have all these puppies traveling down your body on both sides. Because of course, you really don't have any idea of what's happening. Once the girl has had a litter, then next time around, she's well prepared, she remembers, she knows what's going on, and it's a little bit different. So normally girls, when they're preparing to have their babies, that early stage can be quite loud. It usually involves a lot of digging. We have beds all over the place and pillows and cushions, and sometimes we put out ripped rags for them to dig in if they're really interested in digging. Raven was really keen on digging up part of our yard. Of course, it would be natural for a girl to want to have her puppies outside, as that is where most dogs are naturally born. Are they not being raised by humans? So she had an area that she was really fond of, and she dug and dug and dug and dug. We filled it up. We put things on top of it. She dug around it. So it was back and forth for a couple of days. But on the day when she was actually in early labor, she didn't do a lot of digging, a little bit. She was nesting. She went through our donut beds and she pulled the cushions out and put herself underneath them a couple of times, but nothing overly serious, not like some girls who are just obsessed with nesting. And she didn't do very much panting. Normally there's quite a lot of heavy panting. Sometimes you get some shivering. She didn't do any of that. She was really behaving fairly much like she normally would with, you could tell just because we know her, of course, and just by watching her and being aware that her behavior was slightly different from normal. She also had her back hunched up a bit. We call that a roached back, and that's because she's going through that strange feeling in her stomach, and so she's kind of carrying herself a little bit more stiffly. But when it came time to go to bed, she hopped up on the bed like she always does, slept in between Reynolds and myself, made herself comfortable, and she slept all night. She didn't pant, she didn't dig, she just went sound to sleep. So it was great. We all enjoyed a good sleep. And then at about 10 to 7 in the morning, Ripple came and jumped up on the bed. She sat on me. She was patting on my face with her paw going, "Hey, Mom, wake up, it's happening." Ripple knew before we did that the babies were going to be starting to arrive. Now, of course, the night before we had everything prepared, so it was easy just to roll out our whelping nest after we cleared all the other dogs out of our bedroom. All of our Labradoodle puppies are born in our bedroom where they're comfortable, secure, and we can close everything off so that they're not near the other dogs, or if people are coming and going for whatever reason, if Taylor's coming to work, etc., they're not bothered by any of that. We can close the room off so that it's a bit smaller than normal. We have an extra heater, and we can easily have the room up to the 24 degrees that we need. It also means if it's a really long delivery that we have our bed that we can lie on to rest. Because I can tell you, once you get older like I am, sitting on the floor for over 8 or 10 hours for a delivery can get a bit tough on the body, and sometimes I can't get back up again. Good thing I've got Reynolds to help me up. Now on this morning, so as I said, Ripple told me that the puppies were about to arrive. So we got up, we rolled everything out, we took our dogs and put them out. We put them all outside, and sure enough, at 6:59, the first puppy arrived. So Ripple was very keen and very aware as to what was happening to her granddaughter Raven. These are Ripple's great-grandchildren, and they are Peanut's great-great-grandchildren. It's really wonderful to be able to have 5 generations of our line all here together in the house at one time. It's really fun. And we also have Auntie Juniper here at the same time right now too. So it was a very nice, peaceful evening beforehand. Raven went through her delivery just beautifully. When the first puppy was born, she had a couple of little cries. She was a little confused as to what was going on. For the first 3 puppies, she wasn't interested in them. She wanted me to do everything. She looked at them and went, okay. Obviously confused, not too sure what was going on or what to do. But by the time the 3rd puppy arrived, she was right there with me. She was licking to get the puppy out of the sack. Each puppy has their own individual placenta. They're all born in the sack, and it's actually a double sack. And then their placenta comes out with them after the sack. They're attached to it. So mom licks and licks and licks, and sometimes will tear to get the baby out of the sack. Because what we want, of course, is for the baby to start breathing right away. Now the sac is full of fluid, full of amniotic fluid. So what we want to do as well is when we open it, I'm just going to use little Twinkle here as an example. When we open the sac, and you can see how very, very tiny he is, we want to open it so that the puppy is facing down. And the reason we want that to happen is because we don't want all that fluid going up into his nose. We don't want the puppy to be inhaling that. Puppies can actually aspirate and pass away if they get too much fluid into their nose that way. And we have a special suction that we use for the puppies. So if some of them have inhaled some of that fluid, it's called a dealie, and it's just a tube. It's a mucus trap. If you have children, I'm sure you've seen one. And you just put the tube down their throat, not too far, but you want to get it into the lungs, and then you suck and you pull all that excess mucus out, and it goes into a trap. It's not going into my mouth when I do it. Thank you very much. So that's how we sort of clear them out. And then depending on how mom is feeling, either I clamp off the umbilical cord and cut it, or mom chews it off. And then Raven, rather, she was not very interested in the placentas. Normally dogs will consume those. Now, this is one of the advantages of having a raw-fed dog. If you have a dog who's used to eating highly processed kibble, when they eat a placenta, they get diarrhea, and it takes quite a while for their systems to recover. The last thing you want is for a girl who's all of a sudden lactating all these puppies is to have diarrhea. She needs to have all of her nutrition staying in her body, not coming out the other end. But Raven was not particularly interested in consuming the placentas until we got to puppy number 4. She did consume that one. She did also consume number 5, but not number 6. By number 6, she was tired and she was like, yeah, no, it's fine. So she didn't eat a lot of it. And the benefit of eating a placenta is it is designed to provide mom with all of those important nutrients, and it's very high in iron, it's very, very high in calorie, and that's what mom needs after all of the exertion of delivering her puppies, because moms will not eat prior to delivering their puppies. If they have a long stage 1 labor, it can sometimes be more than 24 hours since they ate, and we don't want them to be running out of energy in what is called uterine inertia, where they're not able to have strong enough contractions to deliver their puppies. Now, in between each puppy, we give them a small amount of a calcium paste. It's calcium, vitamin D, vitamin K, and some other ingredients that allows for rapid absorption of the calcium. And we give them the calcium because that helps her continue to have strong uterine contractions. Once the babies start being born, ideally we want them born as quickly as possible. We want the puppies out to avoid delayed stress on the mom, and we also don't want the puppies waiting around forever to be born. We want everything to go just like clockwork. So that's why nutrition during pregnancy is so important for our mamas to be. So Raven did great, no problems at all. You'd think this was her 3rd or 4th litter. She was very calm throughout the whole thing. She didn't mind me helping. She didn't mind when she did it on her own. She wanted to sit right up against me. She was on my lap most of the time, but she was calm, cool, and collected. I was so impressed with her. Really, really easy delivery and really well done. Now, for this delivery, we also had Peanut going in for surgery. Peanut has had some cysts that have had to be removed, and so she was scheduled yesterday morning to have one taken off. So right after the first puppy arrived, Reynolds had to leave right away. So we had a whole house full of other dogs, and we had puppies being delivered. So this is when we're so glad that when we bought this property, that we were able to work everything to allow for these contingencies. So we're well able to put all of our adult dogs outside in the back with free access back inside if they wanted. So they were able to get their beans out in the morning there, run around and not feel like they're being neglected. Our 2 other moms went out for a brief run, came back in, and then they were safely separated from everybody in with their babies. It just meant everybody else had their breakfast a little bit late. So I was very happy that Raven made everything so easy, because sometimes it's not easy to deliver puppies on your own, and without someone there to help, you can run into trouble. So let's go through each of the puppies now and introduce you to them. Now, if Raven is not happy with me picking them up and showing them to you, then we'll just keep them down for now, because it's really important that we keep our mom happy and relaxed, because everything she feels goes into her milk, goes into your puppy, and this is how we start the very, very first bit of having a nice, beautiful, calm, relaxed puppy for you. So the first puppy to be born was Blue Collar Boy, and this is him right here. And he, as you can see, is quite close to Mama Raven. We have several Raven lookalikes. He has a little bit less white than Mama Raven. He is a black phantom. You can see those phantom markings on the front of his legs there. and he's got a little bit of white under his chin, his chest. You can see the tips of his toes are white. He doesn't have a lot of white on his face, but he has that adorable little goatee. And of course the puppies cannot see and they cannot hear yet. So they're born with their eyes and their ears sealed shut. They also can't go to the bathroom on their own. Raven has to look after that, and they can't control their body temperature. That's why we have the room in here right now at 24 degrees. And that's why you'll see Raven panting now, because 24 is warm. So little blue boy, he was born at 6:59 a.m. and he weighed 185 grams. And you can see he can fit very easily in my hand. These are, as I said, petite Labradoodles. Next we had Purple Boy. Now Purple Boy is the puppy we have nicknamed Twinkle. Twinkle is a very tiny little puppy. He was born at 7:20 a.m. and he only weighed 121 grams. And as you can see, his body is quite slender. Yesterday, when he was born, we could see his ribs. Look at how much he's gained already. We can't see his ribs anymore. Well, we can still see them maybe a little bit, but nowhere near like we could yesterday. I can still feel them. He is a pretty caramel abstract boy. He's got that white little squiggle on the top of his head. He's going to have lots of white around his nose and his mouth, just like Raven. And I think he had no white at the end of his tail, just his 4 little white feet. Now this little guy is too tiny to eat on his own. He can nurse. We can put him on a nipple, and once he's on, holy macaroni, he is on like a suction cup. However, while he's trying to get on, and even while he is on, his bigger siblings just simply knock him right off. He only likes one particular nipple, that's it. He will not nurse off of the others yet. So how do we keep him alive? Well, we're tube feeding him. So Redald and I are feeding him every 2 hours around the clock. So we've been up all night, so you'll have to forgive me if I look a little tired in today's video and have bags under my eyes. But I expect we will probably have to do that for the next 2 weeks. And then in 2 weeks, I think he'll have caught up enough and be strong enough that he will be able to hold his own. So we will change his schedule as he shows us he's able to go a bit longer. We'll aim to moving to perhaps feeding him every 3 hours rather than every 2 hours. And then it would be every 4 hours without him losing weight before we would feel comfortable with not feeding him around the clock. And it may be in 2 weeks that we will just feed him during the day. We may supplement him for more than 2 weeks, but cut it back to maybe 2, 3, 4 times during a day until we see his weight gaining all the time on his own. He'll be fine, I think. We can't say for sure yet. Life is fragile. Any of these puppies could perish from something we can't even see at the moment. But when we have a little tiny fellow like this, they need lots of extra TLC to keep them going. And then once we get over that critical first 2 weeks, then we can pretty much breathe a sigh of relief and go, okay, we've got him through this. He's otherwise healthy. Everything's where it should be. He's not lacking anything. He has all his fingers and toes, and his mouth is in great shape. Sometimes when you have a little guy like this, you look and see if they have a cleft palate. He does not. He can eat with no problem. And I have to say, he's very easy to tube feed. Some puppies squirm and yell and hate it. He's just very accepting, and I think he just likes having his tummy filled up. So that's little Twinkle Toes, our little caramel, who came in at 121. I'm just putting him back in here. I like to make sure he's very close to Raven so that he stays warm. And one other thing that encourages me with him is that Raven is not trying to kick him out of the nest. Dogs know way more than us. They can smell illness that we can't. And when you have a puppy that isn't going to survive for sure, Mom will kick them right out of the nest and won't have anything to do with them. And then we know, okay, we've got a problem we really have to look at. Raven is not doing that at all. She loves him. She looks after him. There's no issue there. So that gives us lots of extra confidence that he's going to be okay. And after Purple, we had Red Collar. And Red Collar's right here. Another boy. And Red Collar is the flashy puppy in the litter, as you can see. All sorts of white flash there. Oh my goodness, we've got our little poster child boy here for all of the, oh, look at the looks on that puppy. So you can see he is a chocolate phantom. He's got those chocolate markings, and then he's got all that white flash going on. So he's a real showstopper in terms of his looks. This little guy came at 7:39 a.m. very soon after Purple was born, and he weighed 217 grams, which is a really nice weight. You can see how much bigger he is in my hand. He's taking up pretty much all of my hand. And you are doing such a nice job, Raven, not complaining at all. Thank you, my love. And after that, we finally had a girl. We have Pink Collar Girl. She's hiding under here. Come here, baby girl. Pink Collar Girl is a Raven clone. As you can see, she is a black phantom, and she has white on her face like Raven. She's got a little bit of white on her toes, less than Raven does. I think, no, Raven, she has more than Raven. And then she's got a little bit of white on her chest there, a little bit of white on the hind end too. I love this gleaming ebony. I love how shiny all the coats are on these dogs. This again is from having really good nutrition. And Miss Pink Collar Girl was born at 7:49, so just 10 minutes after her brother Red. And this little lady tied him. She also weighed 217 grams at birth. Yo, Twinkies, that's my girl. And then after Pinky, we had Silver Collar. And then we were back to the theme of having a boy. And Silver Collar is pretty much identical to his sister Pink, just in the male format. Again, a really beautifully marked black phantom here with lots of white flash going on, little white toes, white on the face, maybe a little bit less white on the face than his sister Pink has. And Mr. Silver Collar boy was born at 8:38 a.m. That was our longest wait there. So my guess is that Pink was the last puppy in the first uterine horn, and then Silver and Orange were in the second uterine horn. And Mr. Silver is 240 grams. He is the biggest puppy in the litter. And in case you couldn't figure it out, Twinkle is the smallest puppy in the litter. And then we were not really thinking we were having 6. Once we'd had 4, which was my guess, I could feel that, oh yeah, there's another puppy still. So I was like, oh wow, a bonus, we're going to have 5. And when I thought, oh, I feel a puppy here, and I feel a puppy here. And I thought, nah, there can't be 6. I was sure she didn't have 6. And I thought, well, it must just be the same puppy, and I'm just not feeling things right. Or maybe she has some poop in there. And so once Silver was born, we were pretty much all finished up. It was only because Reynold had been at the vet that I didn't pick everybody up and move them into the maternity ward. So we were just hanging out together, Anissa and I. And Reynold came back home, and we were talking, and he was starting to clean up. And then I saw that she was having a couple of contractions. This is not particularly unusual that they still have contractions once all the puppies are born for a few minutes. And then lo and behold, what happens? Orange Collar appears. So we were all just completely shocked at the arrival of Orange Collar. And lo and behold, we finally had another girl. So we have 4 boys and 2 girls. And Orange Collar is also a clone of beautiful, beautiful Raven. And when I say Raven, it's because she's in front of me. They are also a clone of Bowie. Bowie and Raven are practically twins. They are the exact same size. They have the exact same pattern. They have the exact same white on them. So they are clones of their parents. So I should not forget to give Bowie credit. Right, Raven? And Miss Orange Collar, she arrived at 9:12 a.m. and she weighed 191 grams. So that's all the puppies. That's the story of how everything went, and that's a little update on our Twinkle here. We really hope you enjoy our videos and that you get some good information from them. And it really helps us if you comment on our videos. And also, I always love to hear from you and answer you back. If you don't have time to make a comment, if you could give us a thumbs up, that would also be appreciated. And we hope you're subscribed to our channel. Now, if you are one of the families on this litter list, we definitely recommend that you do subscribe and that you watch the other litter updates as well. We try to tell you something a little bit different in each litter so that everybody gets as much information as possible. Now, Mr. Twinkle Toes here, we'd love if you would all in the comments send him all of your positive energy and your good thoughts and well wishes for his continuing success and survival and moving up into where he is going to be independent. And Reynolds and I would really like it if we could sleep through the night, gotta say. We thank you so much for watching. Next week we'll be back with the week 1 update. We'll see who has made that all-important milestone of doubling their birth weight. I'm really hopeful that we can get Purple at least partway there. If Twinkle doubles his birth weight, then I'll be just absolutely ecstatic, but I don't expect that. He probably will do that. But as long as he continues to gain and he's not losing, we'll consider that a victory. And also, if you're looking for a Labradoodle puppy, this litter is fully reserved, but we are looking for a guardian for either orange or pink collar girl. I don't know which puppy it will be yet, but we will be looking for a guardian family. And so if you want to know more about being a guardian, I'll post the link to our video on that in the comments. Or you can email me at claire@vanilledoodles.com, and Claire is CLAIRE. Thanks so much for watching.